pat on the back, never hurt nobody.
Yeah, you're right.
I get pat, look. I get very right. What's up? You're listening to the Instant Grits podcast. My name is Devin Adams. I'm your host. I am the CEO of Determined Athletes, and I am determined to inspire. I'm here with my two big guys today, man. They're here chilling. We got a full house today. They're going to keep me up because I'm running out of energy a little bit, so I'm going to be leaning on them today.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
I'm here with my co-hosts, my guys, Damon Lopez.
What's up, family?
No, I'm not done.
You got it right this time.
Damon, I'm not finished, please. I made up some more when I was out there. We got the Black Spaniard, okay? We got Spanish, the Spaniard, Demon, okay? Dame Dash. Where's that from? Where's Dame Dash? Is that old school?
Jay-Z.
Yeah, Jay-Z. Yeah, Rockefeller. So now Mr. Rockefeller here. And we got Lolo. I'm not going to call him
Dame Dollar, and I'll take that one.
Yeah, that's what they call him. Yeah, Dame Dollar.
Dame Dollar, that's your nickname?
I'll take that one. No, not really, but I'll take it.
No, no. I got to get, no, that's too easy. I don't want to call you that. So I'm not going to.
I'm gonna get a list for you though.
We gotta put it.
Obviously, I gotta step y'all games up. Y'all gotta step your games up. While y'all was in here, fat mouth and running your mouths, I was out there making moves.
We was discussing the meat of the topic.
Wait a minute, I'm not done yet. I'm also here with I'm also here with Tim, Big Tim, Big Tree Fall Hard. Okay, Timbo Patron. You know he don't drink. Kirkpatrick. I like doing that. I don't know why. It's probably real annoying.
It sound retarded.
It's Kirkpatrick. Who said that? That was from something.
That's
what is that?
Tony Baker.
Oh, okay.
The videos we talk for the animals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good call. Particles. I just like it because it doesn't make sense.
Oh my god.
And Patroclus. Got my man off of Troy.
Yeah,
and little Timmy.
Yeah.
He's
Shout out to my son. That's Lil Tim.
That's my guy. I known him a long time. He was singing and playing keys at 3.
So
that's my dude. How y'all feeling, man?
Not too bad, other than this mouth, man. Lopez, how you rocking, bro?
I'm good, man. We also forgot P. Bev for you.
Oh,
P. Bev.
Why P?
Dev, a.k.a. P. Bev.
Verbal defender.
Why do y'all give me such a negative connotation? I gave you.
But you know what? Though?
Awesome.
No, listen.
No, that's some slight. Some hate there, guys.
No dice. If you ever seen Dev play, yes. If you ever seen Dev play, he play defensively. Mm-hmm. He reminds you of Patrick Beverly. So that's a compliment. He's one of the best defenders in the league.
I'm
you
not surprised
brought your
by
game from the physical aspect into the verbal aspect.
There you
Same
go.
thing.
I can take that from him. But
Very pesky.
You're sneaky.
Very pesky.
Spaniard.
That was a good analogy because that doesn't fit.
You're sneaky though. I know you. It's a little jab there. I know you. I can see through your little.
No.
You're the Black Spaniard.
He said, "Don't worry, the jabs is coming." That wasn't it though.
No.
I'm gonna bring mine. Yeah, I'm gonna bring mine.
But see, I'm not even jabbing you. You big tree. You big guy. You the Spaniard.
Yeah, see, but there's always stuff behind your stuff.
No, it's not.
There's always jabs. Come on, bro.
No, it's not.
We gonna keep it a buck. It's all right. That's why we cool.
Any wins for the week? I've did my water this week.
Cool.
I know we're starting it next week, but I already did it.
Yeah.
That wasn't that hard because I'm always in the gym training people, so that's not hard for me to do.
I had to because I'm very limited to what I can eat.
Got baby from mouth.
Yeah. Honestly.
Oh,
so drinking water is very easy for me. I'll get my gallons in a day, no problem.
AKA Adam Sandler. Go.
Yeah.
This is not going to be easy for me.
You just said you was just talking all that stuff.
I'm
just gonna drink
I'm on board. No,
I
have
a gallon every hour when I'm in the car.
I have a plan.
Didn't you say that?
I have a plan, but I do recognize executing is going to be.
That's going to be the challenge.
It's going to be the challenge.
What's the
punishment? I wasn't going to do it though.
Here's the punishment. I was thinking about this. So that's once again when you guys were fat mouth and I was out there making moves. Like I always do.
There it is. There's the jab.
No, I was.
Right.
I was.
You guys were fat mouthing. I was making.
I was taking notes on what y'all was saying. Saying why
we were developing content.
Exactly.
That's what
without
you said.
knowing. Fine. You guys were developing content.
And
I was writing it down because y'all didn't tell me that we're going to do that.
That's cool. Because you was making moves.
Listen to me, both of you guys. Because you guys are going to lose first. It's going to be a public humiliation, at least for right now. You have to. You're sure. You're going to jog beside my car. Your shirt's going to be off, and I'm throwing baby powder and other things on you, so it will stick. I might throw some eggs at you.
That's fine.
And then I'm throwing powder on you. I know how you feel about all this food stuff, Lopez. I know you're not going to like that. It might saturate or seep into your skin. You know what I mean?
Well, if you lose, you're doing the same thing.
I'm not losing. I already did my 50 push-ups already today. Oh yeah.
But see, we got to think because if you lose, that's nothing.
I don't like to do that. I don't like being outside. I don't want to be filmed.
Sure, tell me anything now.
No, I'm being honest. I don't lie about this. I don't want to have shit thrown on me. Sorry for cussing, but I don't. I don't want to have eggs and powder. That's humiliating. We're gonna do this right in the parking lot for like 5 minutes. Like, it ain't gonna be like no.
Okay, I got you.
It's a one-time thing. We're gonna drive up and down the parking lot, backing up. I'm throwing stuff at you because this ain't happening to me.
Okay.
And I'm driving forward. You gotta run, and then I'm throwing stuff at you. You might get pulled over by the cops.
This is gonna be interesting.
If it's raining, even better.
Okay, I'm with it.
All right.
You sure?
Positive.
So what are we doing? Because I already did my 50 push-ups. So y'all have water today and 50 push-ups? You got 100 push-ups, right?
I have 100, yes.
Lopez, you going to stay with 50?
I'm going to stay with 50.
Better stay with 50.
Because I didn't understand. I wasn't clear last week. So
it's the lack of clarity.
Y'all never did the push-up challenge when somebody just sends you a video or somebody says, yo, you need 50 push-ups right now.
No, listen, when you explain it today, it's clear.
Right. Correct.
Well, last week it wasn't clear. It was foggy.
I'm always clear.
It was foggy.
I'm always clear. Y'all mind
now
is
it's clear.
I'm always clear, bro.
So I got it for this week. So I'm going to start this week with the 50.
Right.
And then
I'm always clear.
In the water.
Way to level up, guys. I appreciate it. Why do we call this the Instant Grits Podcast, Lopez?
So
I'm glad you asked.
I fell right into that one. I fell right into it.
Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, because you came up with the name of it. Tell us why we call it.
Well, I'm going to let you get yours from.
Okay, all I'm going to say is.
I'm going to chime in.
Well, why do we call it that? Why do we call it that, Lopez? I'm glad you asked, Lopez. Thank you very much. We call it because everybody wants success without putting in that work. And like I tell people all the time, we have a unique perspective. We're 3 black men, and we work in the school system. We are athletes, trainers. We've all coached on all levels for the most part.
Except for pro, yeah.
Except for pro, but we've coached everything. We're business-minded businessmen. We love music. So we've seen a broad spectrum of how this lack of accountability and how everybody wants their thing now and eat it too now is really detrimental and hurting our community. Mental toughness and accountability is lacking. It's hurting our kids. It's hurting our community. Yeah, we actually see it on all aspects because we also see it with sports.
Right.
Me and Lopez were just talking outside. How can we make a bigger impact? And that's going to be something that we can talk about later. But it's time for us to start making moves. So the lack of accountability and the lack of mental toughness, I feel, is crippling the personal development of our kids right now. And you guys can feel free to elaborate. What were you going to say, Lo?
Well, I was going to say just strictly about the name. So Instant Grits definitely symbolizes what you just talked about, the idea of not respecting the process on getting to a certain level of success, but wanting it now.
Sure.
And so we, likened it to the term or the idea of eating instant grits rather than waiting the 20 minutes for the traditional grits that we're all used to, that we grew up eating and loving.
Yeah.
That kids nowadays, or people nowadays too, tend to want things now and would rather eat something or have something that's not as good rather than be patient and go through the process and have the better reward at the end. So instant grits symbolizes that notion.
It does. Anything, Pat, or not?
Ditto. I mean, the 20 minutes represents the process. Whatever your process is to go from good to great, better to best, sell out to that process. Don't take the shortcut microwave way out, because as we all know, those grits never taste as good. It'll never be as good as what you get if you take every single step,
even
make the steps to get better.
This was a process.
Even
figuring all this
right,
stuff
getting
out.
to a podcast was a tough process. You got to get content. You got to get the right people.
Creation, the right people.
You have to do your research and all of that.
Levels, having the right equipment.
Yeah,
learning how to work the equipment, the hosting sites, the platforms. How do you get this on Spotify? How do you get this on? Like, that's all new for me. So.
Hashtag Joel and B. Trust the process.
Hashtag him. And then you was messing with the sound levels. We could have just said, all right, cool, but nah, it takes time.
Yeah, and especially if you want things to be done correctly, and I think as a society we probably guilty of that too. I'm starting to fill my mouth. Sorry. It's the we don't want to. Perfection is like it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, it's okay to do things average as long as it gets done. We run into that type of stuff a lot, but to really master something and to have it, to see something all the way through, you know, it requires grit. It doesn't always feel good. Mm-hmm. You know, it takes time. And those are things that, you know, we kind of run from as a society, and, you know, particularly in our communities.
We do run from that, bro.
Yeah.
Yep, we do. So like I said, welcome everybody. The only thing I always ask is for you to give us a nice review. If you can give us a 5-star review.
Shout us out.
Yeah, that would be great, because to be transparent, the more and more we move up in the rankings, the more and more people will hear, the more and more people we can affect, and really start to try to have a movement where everybody's becoming accountable, not just with me, Patton, and the Spaniard, but all of us together collectively. After a while, maybe we can have a men's group.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And a female-led group. And then we come together, we can start having a lot more things to come together and grow, and because we're all being accountable, taking care of our stuff.
Absolutely.
From all over the country. So, like I said, please refer a friend. Give us our 5-star reviews. Give them high reviews. Yeah, man, that's the only thing I ask. Let's get this up. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes.
Yep.
We're on SoundCloud very soon.
Podbean.
We're on instantgrits.podbean.com. That's where all the episodes will be loaded. We're going to be on YouTube. We're going to be all over the place really pushing this. And feel free to make your comments. If y'all have questions or topics you want us to discuss, as like I said, Patrick is a dean. He's been a teacher. He's a musician. He knows a lot.
Yeah.
Basketball coach, but he's a man of integrity, and he's a man with education and making his statement made here at his school that he's in. Got another educator right here, Lopez, teacher, background in counseling too. Mm-hmm. See, I did my homework. You know what I mean? See, when y'all in here talking fat mouth, and I'm researching. You know what I mean? And like
developing content.
Okay. And like I said, me too. I'm in the school system too. We all have, I think, perspectives that can be valuable. Mm-hmm. So we already did our accountability challenge, so that's going to start. And today is going to be Thursday's Child. Mm-hmm. It's more of a serious topic because, why did you come up with the name Thursday's Child real quick, bro? It has a nice ring to it. I like it.
Yeah, it does. I kind of piggybacked off of something that Channel 10 has, NBC 10 has. They have like Wednesday's Child, where they highlight certain children, I think, with like special needs that have different accomplishments and things like that. And I think we already had something for Wednesdays, because we're going to be talking about some finances, some cultural stuff, some music, sports, you know, just covering a wide range of stuff. So I wanted to have us dedicate a day to education and what we all do. Okay. And just giving our unique perspectives into where we see today's youth, how we affect it on a daily basis, the things that, you know, we see that we may be able to share.
In the next episode, we're going to go in more depth about, you know, your background, my background. Sure. So we'll talk about it a little bit more next the next episode. But today's a little bit more serious because it's actually it's a I would call this a recent tragedy with with Nipsey Hussle,
no doubt,
and how he lost his life. And the main reason it touches me so hard, and you guys can feel free to jump in a few, just because I can't imagine being he's my age.
Yeah.
I'm 32. My birthday's in July, and I can't imagine having so much life, which I feel now. I feel like I'm so full of life, and to have that taken, I can't imagine going out like that. Having so much life to live. Same thing for my aunt. She was a writer in Hollywood, one of the first female black writers. Worked away from the Baltimore Sun, putting in that process, right? And she had her own show on 101 on UPN. She was working on 101, Fresh Prince. And she was actually bouncing back. She taught some, and now she was just on, I think, one of these Raven Simone show. And she had a massive heart attack.
Wow.
And I'm just saying, like, so much life. Like, so... Yeah. That's why this one hits me hard a little bit, because I feel like, man, I'm that age, and I'm trying to do what he's doing, maybe not on his scale,
right?
But I'm working hard, bro. We work.
Yeah.
The stuff that we do, the stuff that we see. I had a little girl spitting on me the other day. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that we put up with, and the stuff that we see that we feel like we're called to do. It's hard. Everybody can't do it.
Right. It is, man.
And like I said, with this Nipsey Hussle piece, I had one of my old players. One of my players called me up that night. It happened, and we spoke. I wanted to get up early, because I had to go to work the next morning. I was starting my new job. And I didn't go to bed until 3. Because he was that shook. He was like asking me all these questions, just saying like, yo, is this what y'all felt like with the Tupac Biggie thing? And I told him personally, I didn't because I was kind of young. You're 19, Daquan.
Mm-hmm.
My man Daquan Reed, one of my favorite guys. And I just listened to him. I listened to him talk. He asked questions. He wanted to know about conspiracy. He wanted to know, and we don't know all the facts.
Right.
We weren't there. But he was just going through all this, and I was just
all
listening.
Different emotions.
Yeah.
About it, right.
Yeah. And I told him I'm frustrated too, bro.
It is. It's frustrating. I'll say because I remember that time frame. I was about to graduate high school, so I remember Tupac's really, really clearly, and there are some elements of it that feel somewhat similar.
Well, what are those? Is it the fact that when he speaks, he's sounding different?
Well, I mean, for our generation back then, you primarily had a lot of people were influenced by Pac.
Okay. And
some of the ideas that he had, that transcended just rap and the glitz and the glamour. Not to bring it in, but just to make the comparison, Biggie was for our generation. He was like the storyteller. He brought the story of the hood to the world. We all could relate to him. Okay. So it wasn't necessarily. I can't put I'll say both of theirs gives you the feeling like the young people are kind of feeling today with what Nipsey did, because it's like, wait a minute, because it made you look, because that at that time it was a whole, you had a country almost divided over music, which was weird, man. Right. You had like East Coast, right? You had East Coast versus West Coast. You can't go out to the West Coast because you from Philly, or you from New York, and you repping Biggie, or I'm repping Pac. So you had all of this kind of stuff going on, and it was really like a country divided, and a lot of young people were like confused. It was like it was people on the East Coast, because I mean Pac from over here, so it was like, dang, I dig Pac, that's my man, but I gotta pick a side now. So it was it was that confusion and all of that stuff going on. But when both of them passed, I'm gonna say it at least for me and the guys that I grew up with who kind of listened to hip hop and studied the culture and followed the movement and all of that, it was like, yo, something's really going on. Like this is not just two of our favorite rappers getting killed, just for
it makes you
being out there, right? It started to raise questions. It made you start thinking about stuff on a deeper level, and I think you're getting that with Nipsey too.
How old were they?
When Pac died?
Big was 24, I think.
I think it was 27, 24, 25. Okay. Yeah, they both was young.
Because I cut you off, my bad.
No, I was gonna say, when I look at, just like you said, when those two things happen, one, the fact that it happened around the same time, right? They were already connected through that East Coast West Coast beef, and like you said, Biggie was the visionary, the storyteller, but Pac was like the revolutionary. Yeah. So a lot of what his stuff was, facts, he sometimes talked about the hood stuff and the everyday stuff that most rappers was talking about, but he also touched on a lot of political topics, both in his songs and in his interviews and stuff like that. His
interviews were crazy.
He was very. I think he represented a type of young black man that the country was afraid of, right? They were afraid of the Biggie types, the kid from the inner city who, sold drugs and did these different types of things, and then eventually had money. But they were really scared of the guy who understood who he was, that came from a revolutionary background. I think when you look at Nipsey, a lot of people might not be familiar with his music.
I was about to ask you straight up, bro.
Yeah,
they might not be familiar with his music because he only had, I think, just one mainstream album, but he had a lot of mixtapes.
Right.
So if you weren't into the mixtape scene, you might not have heard a lot of songs.
Victory Lap, right?
Victory.
Yeah. And I think it did really well.
It was tough. Have y'all listened to it?
Yeah, I heard parts of it.
Good.
But I heard of a lot of his underground mixtape stuff. So I knew he was early.
Stuff. Yeah.
I didn't hear none of his underground.
Yeah.
Me listening to Victory Lap.
And he's been out really since like 03, 04 or something like that.
Yeah, when he first came out, he was talking like that from Jump Street.
Exactly. That's what I said. So a lot of people don't know that. So when they hear about him, they some people might liken him to another rapper that tragically got killed, like the other kid last year, XX, that guy, who was tragically killed. We don't know the details about why that happened and so forth, but it kind of gets
some stuff too.
Huh?
Wasn't he doing some things too, or no?
I want to say he was,
but
was
speaking like
very easily we get classified into that, or not we, but rappers get classified into that. Oh well, this is what they talk about, so eventually it's going to happen to them. When it might be more than that. So Nipsey was on some other things, talking about some other things in his life that people might not be aware of, and even more in the recent years. And then this happens to him tragically. So it's kind of like on the tip that Tupac was, where people had a hard time accepting his death for what it was because it looked like one thing, but when you really dig deep, it's like there was some other questions about, what happened to him and why he could have possibly been targeted and stuff like that. So it's tough.
Well, like I said, me too. After talking to Daquan, y'all know me. You know me pretty well, Pat, and then you know me pretty well too. Yeah. But y'all also know I'm doing this whole morning affirmations every morning for the first 30 minutes. I don't look at my phone. I'm going to sleep, meditating, listening to different affirmations to help me get my mindset right. Like it's not like we have to do this; we get to. Right. So I'm even changing that. Like we get to do this podcast, we get to work out, we get to play this stuff. Changing my mindset. And the last part I'm just gonna say before we move on is that's why this hit me so hard, because I can't imagine even you having something happen to you, something happening to you, something happening to me with so much that we still have left. Yeah. And it makes me just value life is really about a lot of things, but it's so much really about, I think, two things right now, at least in my mindset: building relationships with people and capturing moments. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little choked up just because, like, that's really important.
Sure.
Building relationships with people was awesome.
That's the lifeblood.
You need partnerships. Like, I couldn't do this if you wasn't here, if you wasn't here. Right. I couldn't. I was nervous already. And then me and you was talking outside, and he just said, all right, man, we started fat mouth. I'm like, everything's going to be okay. Yeah. Right. It's strength in numbers. It's strength in unity. True. And it's strength in partnerships. True. But also this whole moment piece, like I said, I just lost my aunt. Moments. I saw her, I think, a month ago. I didn't know that was going to be my last moment with her. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And same thing. I'm in Philly from D.C. I got home. I saw my cousins, I think, for the first time this year. That was one moment. Right. But when I was growing up, I was with my mom. I asked my mom this in the car. I said, Mom, you've known me for a long time. How many days do you think we spent together? She did some math. I made her do some math. Maybe like 10,000 days. Yeah. That's a lot of days with my mom. Right. Yeah. That's a lot of days with my pop. I've only seen my mom 2 times this year. Yeah, right. Not a phone call. Phone calls don't count as moments, man. Right. That's
so actual physical in
a moment.
Right.
Yeah. So that is just really waking me up to think, yo, are we really, as people, do we treasure our moments with the people we're around? Yeah. Because who knows? I might only have maybe 40 more moments with my cousins who are in DC. That's crazy. Maybe 10. Yeah. And I'll talk to him on the phone or shoot him a text, but those moments. So moments matter, guys. So all I'm saying is, before we move on, is just make sure you really, really think about what's important.
Absolutely. Right. Treasure that time.
Self-help, accountability, but treasure that time and moments. Like, how many moments do you have left with the people that are in your family?
Sure.
That changes my perspective with everything. Don't take advantage of smiling.
Yeah. Makes you live a different way, too.
It does. Like, why would I hold back a smile when I'm with somebody and I'm happy? Right. Like, don't overcomplicate things. You know what I mean? So.
Well, one thing I tell my kids every day.
Thanks for letting me ramble too, man.
When they ask me about my job, and they're like, why do you like what you do? Like, you come in here every day, and they recognize, kids will recognize when they act the fool and how they are, in general. And they'll ask, like, do you like what you do? And I'm like, yeah. I said I laugh every day. Every day. I'm like one of the deans at my school that isn't bald, but they'll make jokes about it, or whatever. And I say to them. Yeah, so every day I come to work, I laugh. I like the people I work with. I even like y'all. When you get on my nerves, you guys are entertaining. Just listening to your story every day, even when you're not having the greatest of days. This is what I wanted to do. So for me, coming to work is not work. The hardest thing was getting here. Getting up and getting here. But once I'm here, this is what I naturally do. This is who I naturally am. So I'm not working when I'm with y'all. I'm just being me. So I can find happiness in what I do, and I can laugh every day. And so that makes it.
So now, if you can master that morning. Think about how much more blissful your day is. You already like what you're doing. The hardest part you said is your morning, just getting there, right? Yep, so now imagine if we change our mindsets in the morning, waking up with a new mindset of how we're going to tackle the day from Jump Street.
Well, where I can't wait to get into it, like get to that point where I'm waking up like I'm ready to go and I can't wait to get there.
And like I said, my morning affirmation has been saving me. I go into the school and some people are like, hey, how's your day? I'm great, man. I'm great. I really am.
I gotta be transparent, y'all. I can't. So I need to borrow that from you guys. That's why this stuff is good. I'm gonna be totally transparent. I get up in the morning and I prepare myself because slightly different, but for me, I feel the weight and the magnitude of what I'm gonna have to encounter during the day. So for me, it's okay, it's okay. I come here to deal with discipline and deal with kids' issues and parent issues, and kids are fighting and they're doing this and they're doing this outside or whatever. But in the back of my mind is always that piece of trying to get them ready for the next level, having them understand what challenges await for them. The decisions that you make today affect everything.
That stresses you out?
It does. It does stress me out because in some respects, I feel not a full sense of responsibility, but I feel a responsibility to try to steer them and help them in a certain direction. No, I'm not driving the car, but you coming into contact with me every day. You know, for the most part, I'll say most of my students have a pretty favorable response towards me. Some of them I get on their nerves.
They love you and respect you.
Yeah, that's my job. If I don't get on your nerves, I'm not doing my job.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it's like you know when you know what they're up against, and you see all of the stumbling blocks, you see all of the stuff that goes on the social media and the stuff that they sell out to and pay attention to. It's like, you guys are not, this next step right here, you guys are not ready for this, and I don't want to get too far off even the topic, but you take somebody like a Nipsey who, when you really get into his lyrics, okay, yeah, the beats sound great, yeah, he got tattoos, he looks the part, but really listen to what he's saying. Really look at what he was doing in the community. Like, really make change.
But is that stress or frustration?
It's probably a little bit of both.
Because you're doing what you're called to do. You're a natural
I am. And nobody said that the job would be easy.
You don't need to prepare for something you have in you already. You're
prepared, I think there can be a stress and responsibility. Like when you know, because I mean, just say we were both parents, right? Yeah. There's a certain stress with waking up every day knowing that our family's survival and success is dependent on me and the decision I make at this point in my life. Right. So my kids, the way that they grow up, their outlook on life, everything is predicated on me and my wife, how we decide to raise our, do our household. So it's not a bad stress. But there is a stress with that. I don't want to say that. Right. There's a stress with that. So I think one thing real quick, one thing that I learned, I was fortunate to learn this very early when I got out of school at 22. And I got into this field to do this work. I wanted to save the world. I seen every kid, and I wanted to uplift every kid. And when I started my work at Glen Mills, I walked in there and I would see a unit full of kids and all these different backgrounds, 50 states and Germany and Carousel Islands we would get these kids from, and hear their stories and just want to try to find a way to fix and help everybody. Yeah. And I learned in my 4 years there, my mentality changed from that when I was 22 and I first walked in the building to, in year 3, I was able to not necessarily let go of that stress, but understand that I'm just one vehicle in their life, right? And that it's not my job to fix everybody, but it is my purpose to try, right? So I would say to the kids, so my speeches in the beginning were like, the heave-ho, every one of you guys can do it, everybody can be this and that. Then it changed to, I'm just one person in your life, right? You guys are going to get discharged from here, and you're going to hopefully meet somebody else that's going to try to uplift you. And some of you are going to go back to the same environments. Some of you are going to make the same different choices. And what keeps me coming in here every day smiling for you guys is that I don't know who that person is. Right. And that one of you guys, one of you 96 kids that's listening to me talk, is going to hear what I say or hear how I see how I carry myself, and you're going to change your life. What keeps me coming in here every day and not losing myself or wanting to quit or becoming stressed out is the fact that I don't know which kid that is. Right. So therefore, I approach every one of you guys the same way because I don't know who that success story is going to be. So it could be any one of you guys. So when I walk in here every day, I'm looking at the fact that I'm going to save somebody. I just don't know who it is. Right. And because I don't know who it is, I had to approach everybody the same way. And so that mentality carried me from Glen Mills to the other schools that I was at all the way to the school that I'm currently at. And that's how I approach the kids. So when I do hear these stories of like kids not making it or anything like that, I don't view it, it's a tragedy, right? Yeah. Loss of black life is always a tragedy. But that tragedy turns into triumph for somebody else. It comes into a story, a learning piece for somebody else, and I have to be the vehicle that constantly uses that. Right. So with this Nipsey Hussle thing, this is a very unfortunate for his family and for the LA community that lost him, but it also becomes the next thing that helps us motivate and inspire the next group of kids here in Philadelphia. We can use this to say, listen, these things are real, or use it as motivation to speak to get back to our community here. Yeah. And so it's a loss because we lost a great individual, and that community lost a great individual that was doing a lot for their community, but it also becomes a springboard for somebody else to make a change in their life.
Yeah, he definitely left a blueprint. So,
he left something for the next people to go after. So,
and like I said, I don't do New Year's resolutions, but I did say in 2019 I want to be more present, right? And I think that's why this hit me hard too, because like I said, take advantage to smile, take advantage of those moments, take advantage to spend time with people and build relationships. But being present also means you're actively. You're enjoying the weather, but you're actively being proactive. We're trying to do this. We're in the moment,
right?
And what was some of the stuff that Nipsey Hussle was involved in right off the bat? Do y'all remember? Like, didn't he have a fish house? He was selling like fish.
Yeah, he had a lot of. I know he had some restaurants. He had a real.
His portfolio was, and like I said, my man Antoine, who I went to college with, he's in Philly now. I think you might have met him. You know,
I met him before.
Right? Or no?
The coach?
Yeah. He sent basically an overview of what Nipsey Hussle's portfolio was and how diverse it was. So I'm just going to read a couple. Like he said, he co-founded the STEM Academy, which I knew about.
Yeah, that's huge.
I'm going to leave this alone. I'm just going to read it. It says, co-founded the STEM Academy with plans to expand across 3 cities. And I think one of the cities was L.A., D.C., and maybe Atlanta. I'm not sure. So if somebody knows, please send that to me in the comment. Active role in establishing Destination Crenshaw, a 1.3-mile public art space honoring LA's Black heritage.
It's awesome.
Set to open up in 2020. Introduce Proud to Pay model, earning an estimated $1.5 million as an independent artist. This figures does not include merch or touring, so he was making moves there. He reopened the World on Wheels roller skating rink, initially damaged in 1992.
In the
riots.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm almost done. Set up partnerships with Fatburger, where employees wear uniforms with his brand and clothing on it, so he's promoting his brand.
The I know you rebranded the Crenshaw logo and stuff like that.
Established Steve's Barbershop in honor of his friend and business partner who died from gun violence. Puma X, the marathon clothing, set to launch. That was going to launch this fall, his whole marathon brand. He secured ownership stakes in Followcoin and Amsterdam-based cryptocurrency platform. So he invested in cryptocurrency and had some stakes in there. He had a hire assistance program, which he impacts, so he had helped people get jobs. Invested in Vex, the blockchain-based music app, so he was forward thinking of that. He launched Our Opportunity, which is a coalition dedicated to discovering properties and revamping neighborhoods across multiple cities. And the last one is part of a bid to acquire Victory Santa Monica Luxury Resort.
I'm gonna add one more too. I think it was called Vector 9. I'm not clear on the name, but he opened up like a shared business space right there in the hood that people can, like a virtual office type deal.
Right.
Which that really forward thinking to do something like that in the hood, because I can't think of any neighborhood, at least none that I've seen, where that's normally like downtown.
And he probably had more, right?
He
probably had some real estate. He probably
had a lot of stuff.
Shout out to this writer though. His name is Semi W. Semi W. This article was written on April 12th, 2019. But go ahead.
And so the thing was, he was open to different. I mean, look at how diverse those ideas are.
Yeah.
Right. When people who didn't know him, to look at him, you wouldn't think of this stuff
at all.
But he was open to all these different business ventures, and he preached about it. So it wasn't like he just did it for himself to capitalize the market on his own. He talked to a lot of different people in a lot of different interviews about ownership and diversifying your portfolio and things like that. So he definitely was trying to empower people who otherwise weren't thinking like that. He talked a lot about his community and empowering people in his community who didn't think like that, to get them on board with like getting out of the norm and stuff like that, which was a great thing.
It's funny. I saw a video of him talking about some of like his top 5 women that he had crushes on. And who do y'all think was the first one he said, or the second one he said?
Oprah.
No, last one. One more guess. Who's he with?
Laura London.
He said that. He said, I'm on Laura London. I saw her in that movie. She had the big hoops. She seemed kind of fly, and that's exactly good. And he was always a big believer in speaking things into existence too.
Absolutely.
Like he would just say, "Oh yeah," and then he got her.
Yeah.
And that just means positive affirmations. Thinking that you put that energy out there, you'll get it back. You know what I mean? And that's why it was kind of weird to hear Kodak say what he said. Like I didn't hear it. Okay, man. I didn't hear it. I just saw people responding to it. Lopez,
I'm definitely not. I don't think I didn't look at it as weird. I think it was typical. right?
Well, did I use the word weird? I didn't mean to say weird.
No. I think you said he was like the way he was affected. It was weird, but
okay. So what did he say? Because I know.
So what he said was he made a comment about actually trying to talk to Lauren London,
like on a romantic,
tip, right? And so this was not even days after the incident happened.
Was it an Instagram post, social media?
It was a post. Yeah, it was a post, a video they did, which he does a lot of those. But on the video, he said something to the effect of wanting to get with her, that he was going to get with her, say something to her about trying to get with her, and immediately
people started checking him.
Yes, the game made a video and kind of checked him, and then T.I. made a video and kind of checked him. Also just more or less on a respect tip, like that wasn't the time or the place to do sloppy, that. Bro. You need to basically make that right, which I think they both was insinuating that you need to apologize to her.
How old is he? Do we know?
Kodak's a young guy too. Yeah, he's not too
early 20s at the oldest.
But they said that he should send out an apology video.
Yeah, in so many words, and he did. So the first video he came out with, he said he wasn't apologizing, that he didn't do anything wrong, and who are they to say something to him? He does what he wants, that type of thing like that. Then I seen another video where he actually did kind of give a somewhat apology, but it was more of the apology where he's like, I shouldn't have did that, but I'm not sorry. So it was me like offering an apology, but then taking it back, justifying his actions. So then he more or less kind of stayed with, who are they to tell me what to do? And he actually came out with a diss song towards T.I. where he disrespected, where he disrespected his kids.
That's dangerous anyway.
Yeah, called his kids, faggots and.
You serious?
Yeah, no, I'm dead serious. I listened to it the other day.
Let me make sure I'm hearing you correctly. You said Kodak Black came out for this song?
Kodak Black came out with a diss song
after he got called out for just being a better man.
Right.
Yeah. He had a diss track about this man's family.
And T.I. didn't threaten him.
You're
the
for
game
real.
Didn't threaten him. I'm dead serious.
I don't even want to hear it. I'm not. This is not acting. I just can't believe that.
Yeah, he definitely did.
This man, she lost her husband. You trying to get at her. Some people say, "Yo, bro, you just fall back. We a little older than you. You know, she's a beautiful woman. She's pretty.
Yeah.
But yo."
And he came out with it.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Yeah. But you know what though? That's unfortunately that is very typical of the times.
That's how our kids are right now.
Large part, yeah. It's and I don't know what's done that. I don't know if it's just
it's the lack of people checking them like that, right?
Well, that's part of it. But see, even being checked, he didn't feel any remorse. So I don't grow up
getting checked,
and that may be the case. That may be the case. You in order to do somewhere along the way, that was no. I'm not passing judgment on anybody or what anybody says, but we're just talking about just having some type of right and being an artist, being out there and where you affect, whether you want to or not, you affect and influence people, and people watch the things that you do. No, you're not going to live a perfect life. Yeah, that's your life. You live it. But also, we got to do a better job appreciating life, like understanding that. Okay, dude, just what if that had been somebody that you know? You know what I mean? What if that would have been one of your homies or road dogs that happened to? I'm sure he would have been ready to get on the next thing smoking to go check whoever said that. So you can't feel. Like, well, who are y'all to come at me when you would have done that to somebody else had it been somebody that you know? But maybe because you didn't have a relationship with him or you didn't know him, and we all know how L.A. is. If you theirs, you can't really say nothing against theirs. You know what I mean? And I just think it was very sloppy. It was very messy. He didn't have any tact in saying that. Everybody has a mouth. You can say what you want to say, but I mean, kind of use yours to say something a little better than that. And I do think that's typical of our generation. I think we desensitized to death, to loss, to things that really mean something. Like here's somebody that wasn't just a street rapper. He wasn't just a Grammy Award winner who had a song or brought out a CD. And he was trying to rebuild his community. Like that's something that a lot of cats don't do, and particularly in the rap game. Yeah, it's enough for me to go out and sell 1 million records and have all these chains and have the houses and cars and the money, and I don't have to give nobody a dime. I don't have to uplift my community one bit. But it stings a little more when you have somebody that was doing that. Tragically, their life is taken, and now you poking fun at it. Like that's not gonna cool. That's not gonna be cool ever. Yeah.
At least these old heads checked them though.
They did. Like, and I think those guys came up under a different. So even when you look at T.I. and you look at the game, they're young. They're not older rappers, so they're not Kumo D and these guys like that.
Right.
But they came up in a time where there was rules to the rap game. There was rules to the industry of getting in. Mm-hmm. Right? You had to pay your dues. You had to do these things. These kids nowadays are like, you jump on YouTube with a song and then you
famous.
Yeah. So it's like all of a sudden you go from having nothing to having everything.
It's that instant grits.
And there's instant grits, right? Exactly. There is. Where now these kids are not learning respect or process. So now it's, you can't tell somebody like Kodak anything because he's rich, he's famous, he has money, and he did it his way to get it. He didn't have to pay any dues or anything like that. So now you can't tell him anything, and there's nobody around him to check him. So there's nobody in his camp that even says like, "Yo, come on, bro, that was too much. That was too much." Like we might need somebody like T.I.
Yes men all around him. He probably got what I mean?
Exactly. People are just like, I'll just say whatever, and unfortunately for him, because it kind of goes into the situation with 6ix9ine that happened last year, when he had somebody like Fat Joe that sat him down and said, "Listen, you can't do it the way you're doing it. I've been in your same situation, and here's what they almost did to me. You need to stop." And he didn't listen, and now he's in his situation, and everybody that was with him, that was riding with him and all something, they dropped off.
That's how it goes.
And they left him go. So, somebody like Kodak has the same thing around him, that if you don't remain who you are, those people will drop off, and you won't know it until that cell closes or until that casket door shuts, and then that's it.
This is funny because it's kind of like how the NFL got that the rookies.
Yeah,
it sounds like these young rappers, once they hit a certain number of followers, I don't know what the protocol will be. Maybe if they hit 1.5 million followers on any social media platform, they get funneled right to. Oh, you present them with that option. Hey, why don't you come? Like, I don't know, but it sounds like something like that needs to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at least your boy, 6ix9ine had Fat Joe to sit down with him. T.I. was checking somebody. The game. Maybe they should start something like that. And
shout out to Jay-Z too, because
Jay-Z
quietly behind the scenes, but Jay quietly behind the scenes, he's been doing a lot of stuff when rappers and different people get in trouble. Like I think he set up some type of trust for Nipsey's kids. Yeah, he was the one that bought out his first 100 CDs and things like that. He's been helping people in some legal stuff. So I mean, he's kind of sitting back. I know he gets a bad rap sometimes. All of the different he's Illuminati and this is that and the third, which not dispelling or confirming anything, but at least he's coming forward. He's not doing it in the public eye, so it's like, oh, Jay-Z did this, but he's making an impact and trying to help people out. So help people in the situation, especially with this with the whole Nipsey thing. Like I shout out to him for that, because he's one of the only ones that I know of that really put that much skin into saying, you know what, I'm gonna help this young brother's family. I'm gonna help his cause, get behind it. Like, because I think a lot of people were trying to tag on to the whole Dr. Sabi thing and the documentary that he was doing and, trying to keep his stuff alive, but he actually put skin in the game and put resources behind it and said, I'm going to do this to help this man and his family. So I thought that was thorough. That was a solid OG move.
Because you wasn't here when I was asking Lopez. I was asking Lopez, like, how come it seems like the rappers that we grew up listening to are now having mindset changes? Like, I can't imagine David Banner. I'm happy that he's doing everything he's doing. I really am. But I just have his image stuck in my head as a rapper.
Yeah.
Same thing with Noriega. But then Noriega do like, what? That was
my song. You heard?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's refreshing to see them.
Yeah.
When I'm seeing their interviews, they've changed. They're a little bit more aware, conscious of certain things. I call it like a conscious hood mentor or something like that. How come our guys gonna have those? Did we need them? Because things were just as violent. That's what I was telling him. I was telling Lopez, things were just as violent. Gunplay was crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
I think there was
Murder Capital World was
I think
DC
there was a code because I can remember as a high schooler playing basketball, right, as a ball player in my neighborhood. So in my neighborhood, there was areas where it was like kind of rough and things like that. But when I became a basketball player, and that's what I was doing, that's what I was about, right? There were guys who were out there on the corners or in that life who would say to me, like, you don't belong here.
Yeah,
right?
Same here.
And not try to suck me into that and say, like, use me for that purpose, but say, no, you're on the path to doing something with yourself. I know who you are. Yep. Matter of fact, here go a pair of sneakers where like that.
Same story.
You know what I mean? You stay on the court.
Same story.
You stay on the court. And there was a code where it was like, they were plucking some kids for that, which was wrong. Yeah. But there was a code where it was like, we're not just taking everybody. You know, we do know that this young boy over here, he's trying to do something with himself, or this kid over here is not into that, so we're gonna let him go, whatever.
That's not here no more.
That's
gone.
That's definitely not.
But that was the gold mine. That was the gold mine. Shout out, just as you talking, I'm thinking of 3. Shout out to, I hope y'all brothers still alive. China, Bird, and Hook, 60th Street in West Philly. I would walk through the gym, one of the toughest parts of West Philly, gunplay, drugs, people getting shot, this, that, and the third. They saw me coming to the barbershop. They saw me with a ball in my hand. Young boy, I know you ball. I saw you at the park. Been to your games. Yeah, you stay out these streets. At a certain time, listen, you make this move. Keep playing that ball. They would big up me for doing that. And so you felt like you didn't have to fit in. I didn't have to be in that light to be successful. I still got the respect that young people long for from the cats that's putting in the work, that's out there on the corner. They still giving me respect. Not as, oh, you a G or you hard or you doing this, but I see you doing something positive with your life. Keep going. Yep. Now, like Damon's saying, yeah, they would grab some kids, but those, and I'm gonna say, in some respects, as you get older, you think about it a little differently. Some of those guys were maybe the guys who couldn't play ball, who weren't the best in school, who were just trying to look for a way to survive. Right. You know what I'm saying? And they might have. I'm looking at it like this way, not to call them like saints or philanthropists or whatever, but they might have just scooped them up like, listen, I'm gonna show you this. Even though it's not the best occupation in the world, right? But it's something. You still get that mentorship. You still get that love. You still get that navigation through the streets. But at least for us, and I'm echoing what Dame said, it was I didn't have to be that. I wasn't looked at as soft or weak or a punk because I didn't do that. I didn't have it in me to go shoot and kill somebody or sell drugs on the corner.
Why has that gone? Why has that man, or even that presence of a person overseeing something? You know, like it's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
If I'm driving through Philly, I see a group of guys chilling. There's nobody out there really watching, making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. And it's also not somebody just saying, "Yo, bro, like you play ball, like chill. You only gotta mess with them." Yeah. Where's the voice of the hood?
Man,
you know when things change, this is gonna sound funny, right?
And I say hood with all respect, but we know Philly. Every city's got a hood. A city's a city.
Things changed when Kobe waved off that pick from the mailman. Right? Just follow me on this, right? Just follow me on this. You know what I'm talking about?
In the All-Star game, I know exactly what he's talking about.
So what did that symbolize?
Changing of the guard.
Because when they made such a big deal out of that. And he was a little younger when that happened.
Yes.
Kobe was at like maybe first or second All-Star game for him. So he was a young 18, 19, 20-year-old.
And he was drafted in 97, right?
He drafted in
96.
96, right? So he came out with me.
Okay, 96. I was 10 years old.
Right, so this is 96. Okay. So this might have been the 98 or 99 All-Star game, because I don't know when he started making All-Star games.
Okay. Yeah.
Karl Malone comes out, and this is, at the time, the best screen and roll person in the history.
In the world.
History game. He comes out to give him a screen. This is when they were actually playing. So the All-Star game wasn't the Lob City that it is now. They're actually playing. So he comes out to set a screen for him, and Kobe waves him off. This is not Kobe Bryant, the established scorer.
This is a young, cocky Kobe Bryant.
And this is the second leading scorer in history. And he waved him off. And Karl Malone was hot because you did it basically in the All-Star game where it was like, how do you not need my screen?
Right.
But it was a changing of the mindset where it was like there was the respect change.
That's
and
true.
They made such a big deal about that where it was like this young guy who thinks he's this, right? Now eventually he did become that, but he thinks he's this before he's proven anything. And here comes the OG coming to give you something and you say, I don't need you.
He's burning.
It doesn't matter who you are, I don't need you.
Yeah.
Right? You go over in the corner somewhere, I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna do this thing my way. Right? So I bring that up to say that symbolized the change of how the youth looks at the older people, and eventually how the older people looked at the youth, right? So how many times do you think Karl Malone would ever come out to set a screen for him again, even though it was the right thing to do, right? I'm gonna come out and set a screen for you, but since you turned me away as an OG, I'm not coming back out there no more, right? And that's what's happening nowadays, where we have kids who say, I don't need you. You can't tell me what to do. I can do it in my own way. And then you got the OGs who say, you know what, young boy, I'm tired of trying to tell you because you ain't listening. And now they stop.
Now I'm gonna take your illustration a step further because it is a very telling illustration for how the hood is. Now, the OG he would listen to was Michael Jordan because he respected him and he wanted to do everything that Mike did. Karl Malone doing that would have taught him how to play better with Shaq. Because he didn't listen to that, he had that whole beef with Shaq and the whole back and forth. This is my team. No, big fella. No, I got this. I want to do it like Mike. Very similar to the streets. You see that guy that you want to be like, who has the car, who has the money, who has the pretty girl, and you think, oh yeah, I'm not listening to nobody else but him. But you got a wealth of knowledge in the hood around you. You know what I'm saying? In a variety of areas. Maybe is the guy who cuts your hair. It's the old head that cuts your hair. It's the old head that got the grocery store in the corner. Listen, young fella, this is how you get you a little business. You start, old head, I ain't listening to you. You don't make no money. You got this corner store. Like, you ain't really doing nothing. I want to do what he doing. And that old head not even looking after you. He like, young boy, get out of here. Go do this, go do that, go do that. I don't really care too much about, you know what I mean, your situation. But that's who they following after. And you
told you stop hitting the microphone.
I'm sorry, I got big hands. Man. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's an illustration of how it turned in the hood. So you're absolutely right, man. It was a changing of the guard. It was like I don't know what, you know. There's a couple different things you could point to. Obviously, people will point to fathers not being in the home and things like that. But just the respect for those who came before you, who been down those roads, was like, all right, you forget you and your entire experience. Like, that means nothing to me. I'm gonna do it my way, and I'm gonna get it done because you couldn't get it done.
Who do these kids see as a real one? Like this is a impromptu question, but we just said David Banner. We got people checking these rappers.
I think Nip is a real one. For real.
But will they listen to him? Like I just said, like T.I. checked that dude. Right? Yeah. These rappers, young rappers, are getting checked by some of our older rappers, some of our more seasoned guys that have had some mindset shifts, right? Yeah. Who will our community, our boys and girls listen to outside of the school?
Now, I'll say ours because of where we are demographically. I would say somebody like Meek Mill.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to take somebody, not somebody they would respect. They would have to respect somebody because of the power, not the intellect they would have to provide, not the knowledge.
No, I think it's
what I'm saying?
Connection. So like when he says Meek, the kids look at Meek and see themselves.
Right.
So when they see us in schools, they see themselves to a degree because the young black boys will look at me and see a black man. That's what I'm eventually going to be. But when they see Meek, they say Meek understands me.
Right now, where I'm at.
Where I'm at. Yeah. He can look at me and have a conversation with me, and I can tell him everything about myself and not be judged, even though I'm not going to judge him either. But they feel the connection right off the bat to say, Meek speaks my language. His songs speak to me. He knows my actual culture. I can see Meek walking down the street, my block.
So who's next then? They can't get me.
Right.
So what's the next level down? Yeah. I'm not even trying to undermine what you said. I really agree with you 100% because I'm like that. Yeah, Meek. But yo, it's work to be done.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Who are they going to be able to respect and look, or is it just going to have to be a thing like, it's just like you said, we got to recruit?
I think that's what it is, recruiting. I think it's, well, for us specifically, it's us recruiting in the schools. So starting with the kids that we service every day.
Yep.
And then they become the voice to tell the other kids that, no, we can't get Meek, but you know what? Mr. Patton he's cool. He's cool. You can give him a chance. And then that becomes our speaker, right? And it gets the crowd to say, like, to accept us, and then our message becomes a little bit more clear and better received by the kids.
Very true. And I'm sure this happened to you, too, is after a while in this line of work, you start building off your reputation.
Exactly. Yep.
You know, as a new crop of kids come in, you know, freshmen want to test the waters, they'll say, "Oh no, don't mess with Mr. Lopez. He gonna get with you." That's how it goes, and it's because of the relationships that you build with them, because of the experiences that you have with them. They're able to tell somebody else, "Nah, he cool, but just don't. When you see him look like this, don't do X, Y, Z." So it's very. That's how you get it. You have to build relationships.
We say,
yeah, that's the lifeblood. That's the most important thing. And you're gonna have to, anytime you're working with young people, you have to meet them where they are in some form or fashion. Like, you can have this big grandiose plan of how to save their life and, you know, how to put them on the right track. But if you can't meet them where they are and be able to relate to them on some type of level.
Okay, see, I agree with you. But that whole meeting you where you are piece, I'm going to challenge you there. Okay. I do think that you do have to build a relationship and have some place to relate to them with. You know what I mean? Understand their language, be able to be relatable. But let's just say you a 95 degree, bro. We've had this talk before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Temperature check.
Yeah.
When they get around you, you don't think that they should just be able to be what you need them to be because they're in your presence? Oh, we talking about the same thing, like energy. Like when I'm in my gym,
so,
you seen this energy.
I know what you're saying.
They gonna operate at my temperature. I'm not dumbing it down.
Right. No. So let me clarify that then.
Perfect.
Let me clarify that then. So when I say meet them where they are, that's where you begin the relationship.
Okay.
The hope is that in the process of building, they'll learn and understand and be able to pick that stuff up from you. So now they know what to expect. Okay. Once you get to a certain level, it's like my 10th, 11th, and 12th graders in this building. It's some stuff I don't have to tell them. They already know.
Okay.
They'll see me and they'll see a look on my face like, Pat, you cool? All right, yeah, I'm gonna just go over. I'm gonna go to class. I don't even have to say a word.
Sure.
And that's. But we didn't start there. We started with, yo, didn't I tell you to da 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 da? Yo, listen, flop. All right. And it's like, all right. But you had to graduate to the point where it's like, you could just look at my face. I don't have to utter a word, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to class today. Okay.
So
that's
that. You know what that is?
Yeah, I see where you at. Okay. Yours is expectation and accountability, and I'm with that. But I'm saying to start.
Right.
You here today.
Right. I got you. No, I got you.
And that relationship building is building those soft skills.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So you're talking about, like you said, when those kids first seen you, they don't know you, don't know what you're about.
Yeah, they have no idea.
They have no idea what's going on. And now, so I need to get you to a point where you know that you see my facial expression. You know what my, expectations are, or whatever like that. It's that relationship through those conversations, whether they're disciplinary or just general, right? I might just be talking to you in the morning at breakfast, something like that, just filling you out or whatever like that, or it might be me correcting you through some situation. But those multiple conversations over time are building the soft skills that you need to be better. Because each time that I'm talking to you, I'm giving you something, right? And then I'm walking away, and hopefully what I gave you retained. And then I'm building something else, like scaffold. I'm building something else on top of that. So I get you to the point where you can walk into my gym and understand that I'm at this pace right here. I need you to get here. But I expect you to get here because I've given you the tools to get here. So now I can fairly expect you to meet me where I'm at because I've given you everything you need to get there, and I've seen you do it. Right. I've walked you through it. But if you just walked into my school and you don't know me, even if you're going off reputation, so you've heard how I am or what I expect from your peers, I still have to follow up. Yes. So it's almost like what you said in the very beginning. We say about moments, right, and building relationships. So you build that relationship with all your kids, then they speak to the ones that's coming in, right? But then it's also about building those moments. So even that new kid that I didn't get to yet, he's already heard about me a little bit, but I need to also get that moment with him.
He is,
right?
Absolutely.
I need to get that moment with him because he may hear all these things about Mr. Lopez, but he also needs to experience them. He may need to experience my conversation, experience the fact that I care about him, or I'm interested in his life, or I want to know where he came from, what he wants to do. And that way, that actually builds on to what he's already heard. So if he's heard these certain things about me and I give it to him, now they become believable. Now I know, everybody told me about Mr. Lopez and how he is, but he did pull me to the side the other day and we talked about this, or he said this about me, or some of the things that they told me that he would do, he's done it. So they're not just making it up. He followed through and did it. So
that's the new model then. Is how are we going to build relationships with these kids? That's a new model. That's a new blueprint. Because now I'm just thinking that I build relationships with my kids very, very well, right? But I also, how I do it might be different from how you guys do it. Right. But I'm gonna I've had coaches after my games, honestly, no lie, come up to me and ask me, not about the X's and O's, how come your team plays so hard? How come the boys seem like they respect you and play? I said, because I am extremely transparent and vulnerable with them. I let them know I'm not that tough, but I do let them know, like, yo, that hurt my feelings when you did that, bro. Right. I'll call them in the office and be like, yo, when I wanted just to come over and speak to you and you just walked away, turned your back, that hurt me, bro, because that was real rude. I wouldn't do that to you. That hurts. I'd take that same method and I'd take it to the little 5-year-olds that I see. I'm like, because no, right. They'll run. I'm like, no. I'll get down on their level because I don't want to intimidate them. I'm not the tallest person, but they're down here. So, proximity matters, right? Yeah, so I'll get down and I'll look at them and I'll be like, that actually hurt my feelings when you ran because I care about you. Right. And I think that whole transparency allows us to get more connection and build a bond with these boys and girls a little bit more. Once they see that you're vulnerable. And now if I'm snapping, they're like, all right, I know why he's snapping. Right. Yeah. I respect why he's snapping.
Right. And you want it to be, because you want the kid's response to be, I want to change the behavior, or I'm going to, receive the message, not because out of fear or intimidation, out of respect and understanding that this person cares about me. So I'm better able to receive the correction. So I'm going to stop this because Mr. Adams, when he talks to me like, I know he cares about me. He wants me to be better, and he's only going to tell me this because he cares about me, not because he's nitpicking or because he doesn't like me. Mm-hmm. He actually cares about me being better. So you know what? I really want to be better. I really want to be a better person because he said I could be better. He sees something in me, so I'm gonna change it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it works. I think the other challenge is teaching other adults to do the same thing that you do. Right? Wow. Because kids are always going to be kids. They're always going to need that instruction, correction, and they want that, even if they don't say it.
Absolutely.
The hard thing becomes, or the more important thing I think becomes, not only you walking around your building doing what you do, mm-hmm. but empowering others to do what you do. Because some people just can't do it. Mm-hmm. Some people don't have the investment. Some people don't have the skill set, the understanding.
And let's keep it real. It's an eye-opener sometimes for some of these new teachers when they come to these schools that we work with, right? Mm-hmm. And they gotta figure out how to do this dance with these kids,
right? And they're at a clear disadvantage. We talk about this too.
It needs to be a scared straight program.
The most, I think in our line of business, the most advantageous position to be in is to be a black male in an inner city school, right? Because you're walking in with a somewhat advantage if you can take advantage of it, right? Mm-hmm. The way the kids are going to respond to you, the girls, the boys, all that kind of stuff like that. On the other spectrum, to be a white woman is the hardest to walk into a building with. True. To an inner city school. So if we don't find a way to empower them, and it's also a flip too, they got to be receptive of that empowerment. Mm-hmm. A lot of our kids are going to struggle. And I look at kids that are in my school that I know, if there were 10 more of me walking around the building, that kid would have a better chance. Yep. He wouldn't or she wouldn't get into as much trouble.
And that's not being pompous or cocky. That's
it's just a connection piece. Yeah. It's not even about anything else. It's just if you had 10 more people in the building that you can connect with in your journey around the school, you'd have less problems because you'd have more people in your ear with positivity and less people that are being judgmental or less people that don't understand your behaviors or why you think the way you think or why you view the world the way you view it. Right. They would be more insightful in trying to help you stay on that path. But because you don't, you find more conflict in school in your day because first, second, third period you're dealing with people who just don't vibe with you as a person. That's right. And then all of a sudden then you see Mr. Lopez at lunch and then you're like, all right, now I'm coming down a little bit. I'm able to open up a little bit. And then sixth period you're back at it. Then seventh period you have a great teacher who you connect with and then you're going home.
Here's why I like what we just did because we went from Nipsey Hussle macro, right? Macro level Nipsey. Did I call him Nipsey Hussle or Hustle?
Hustle.
Yeah, no disrespect. Don't get mad. Nipsey Hussle, macro, big. We also didn't talk about Meek, macro. And then we figured out the micro. And that's kind of like what we're supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. That, well, you know what? We're not on that stage. Right. But we have the most important work. Mm-hmm. And how the key to this blueprint for us is to be present and build relationships.
Right.
Yeah. To touch back on Nipsey too, I think his entrepreneurial and business mind is something that we probably need to introduce into the schools as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's life.
That's
real estate, taxes.
You can go anywhere. You can go anywhere if you have those skill sets and you have that mindset. And he definitely showed that he had it by evidence of his portfolio. But that's something that at least I know right away. And part of that frustration that I was talking about earlier is because I love my seniors class of 2019. Y'all know I love y'all. But a lot of them, here's where the stress comes in at. So graduation is May 31st. Mm-hmm. I'm being generous. Mm-hmm. About 20% of them have a plan June 1st. Okay. Mm-hmm. There's 80% of them that have no plan.
Oh, I see what you mean.
After, the next day, they just waking up. I'm a high school graduate, but now what?
That is
what do you? And I'm telling you, day in, day out. Listen, you don't want to go to college. You don't feel like you. Okay, listen. Let's look at some trade schools. Oh, okay. Let's listen. Let's find you a marketable skill. Okay, you have to do something because if you don't, you're gonna be in a whole world of trouble.
Eat you up.
Right, and so
world's unforgiving. It moves
hard. It's very hard.
We're here on it,
and that's what I'm. And that again, and that's the piece because once you walk out those doors, there is no Mr. Lopez. There's no Mr. Adams. There's no Mr. Pat. You may see me in passing. Hey, how you doing? All right, everything good? And I still check in with kids that I've worked with over the years, but it's not that day in and day out. See, I think kids sometimes take that for granted too. It's like, okay, I know Pat will tell me what to do, or Mr. Lopez will give me this word, or if Mr. Adams, he'll get me out of trouble. But when it's time to go on to the next phase, what have you gleaned from all of these individuals that you can say, okay, you know what? They told me I need to do this. They told me I need to do that. Here's my plan. Now, I'm going to execute this with all of the skill sets that I've learned, and hopefully, it'll work out for me. And have them to go back to as a mentor. But it's like two of I call them my sons. They have me scared to death. Last year they graduated. No plan. None whatsoever. They got in trouble with the law. They doing this, they doing that, they doing this, they doing that. They come back up 3 months from graduation. Like, yo, bro, can you do this? Can you do that? They know who I'm talking about. They listening. But my thing wasn't to say, and they understood then. On the other side of it, like, I see what you was trying to tell me the whole time. Real quick, just 3 months time. I see why you was telling me I should have went to this class. I should have talked to this teacher. I should have did this. And, both of them are working now and they're doing well, which is great. Do I want more for them? Yeah, because,
we all do.
Yeah, because you become like a surrogate parent in this role. And so it doesn't minimize what you would want for your own children. Of course, you're going to go a little bit harder and there's more responsibility on you. But it's like, listen, I want the best for you. I want you to succeed to the height, push yourself to the maximum. And it's the mindset that becomes frustrating and that needs to change. Like we're talking about the whole Kodak Black. That mindset of just not being aware and not caring and I'm here now. I've arrived. But you've arrived where?
Yeah. It's weird, Pat.
You know what I'm saying?
It's weird. Because I actually, and I know we're about to wrap this up. That's actually my biggest gift and curse. When I look at anybody, for real. I can't make this up, guys. I would never lie to you two. Or since we on air.
Yeah.
I look at you and I don't see your past. I don't see the ties to it. I really don't. I don't see the ties to it. I don't see a tie from past to present. I see you from present to the better version of you. You know what I mean? So anybody that I always meet, I always see them as the twin that they're chasing. That better version.
Yep.
So Lopez, I see you not as whatever your history was. I see you as Lopez. I could see Lopez writing a book, cheesing on it, looking okay. The Spaniard giving off his, you know what I mean? I can see him.
Spanish version of it.
Yeah, Espanol, no. But no, that's what I can see. I can see you sitting on a stage with a mic with 400 people out there asking, doing questions and answers. I see that. I see you leading a movement in this community, being slim and trim and awesome. I see. That's what I see. Even when I'm in relationships with the girls I've been in relationships with, I see what they can be, and I think that's hard sometimes because sometimes other people don't. Yeah. And I know I got work to do, but I see people's better versions, and it hurts me so much when I even see my little 5-year-olds that I'm seeing every day. I know that they come from some troubles.
Right.
But I see like, wow, this person is really coordinated. Right. I bet you that, and if they wanted to do this right now, they could.
Yeah.
Or our teenagers, wow, you can start a business right now, but you have no idea how to, because they go back into that self-proclaimed connection of negative talk, and they might not know. So all I'm saying is, like, this is the key. I think we knew it, but for me, the blueprint for what we're trying to do is building relationships. Yeah. And I think the fact that we do play some sports, the fact that we do music, the fact that we can relate to them. And because we can relate to them, they can meet us, and now we can agree on the energy that we need them to be when they're in our presence and around. I think that's key. Yeah, I really do. Any last words, Lo? I think we did a nice. I was worried about this one because I just wanted us to make sure that we was going to stay on topic, but I really like how we went macro to micro. Right. I'm really happy. Right. Yeah. How are you? How's your?
I'm good. I mean, and it's a difficult. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need something afterwards. It's a difficult topic because it's again, we all acknowledge it was a great tragedy for not just the Southern Los Angeles community and the rap community, but Black community as a whole. Anytime you lose a young leader like that, we know it's various reports, several different things. Yeah. We're not really here to get into a lot of that. I'm sure we all have our own personal opinions.
I was mad. I was really hurt.
Some that we might not be able to share on air. But, it is a tremendous loss, not one to be taken lightly. And I think the major thing to learn from what happened to Nipsey is to continue that work, and for the younger generation to use what he was doing as it's coming out now, posthumously, is to continue and pick up the baton from the blueprint that he left. I think that's going to be his greatest legacy, not necessarily his music. His music was just that was just the invite to get him to the platform where he was. But that's how you galvanize an entire community. And like Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles, not even having lived out there, but just hearing the stories, that's a rough part of town, man. Right. Like that's economically hit hard, from the 60s, and the stuff this cat was talking about doing was, revolutionary and tangible. That's what I think is the most important thing. It wasn't just like he had a ton of ideas and he was saying this and saying that. He actually put it into work. It was tangible. You could see it working, and sometimes that becomes very threatening, and for us it can be very liberating. So
he was being accountable.
Yeah, definitely.
He spoke the words, and then he was putting that action plan right there together. So
rest in peace, Nipsey, man.
Yeah, definitely. I think any loss of black life is hard. It's traumatic. But like I said earlier, as we lay one down, the work is to pick several up. And so we don't want Nipsey's existence to be for nothing, right? He did a lot while he was here. And he exemplified, I think he set a good example of what people can be, right? The reality that you can be from anywhere and make it if you have a plan. And I think we can use that message of his life and what he did to empower others in our communities to branch out and to do things. So, like I said, I celebrate his life and his existence, and I'm proud of all the things that he was looking to accomplish and what he did accomplish. And I definitely want to use that towards my conversations with the kids I come across and even the adults.
Absolutely.
And lifting them up. So hopefully, like I said, as we lay him down, we build several more up and send several more soldiers out there to do even more work than what he did.
And like I said, guys, before we close, post questions, people. And the only reason I say that, I'm going to not include myself in this, but we have 2 guys here that are fathers. You have 4 boys.
Oh, you have 4 boys?
That's what I thought you had
5 girls.
You have
5 girls, man.
4 boys. 5 girls.
Man.
They work hard-working men that also are hard-working husbands, and embrace and recognizes the pros and the struggles that come with being in a long-term relationship with somebody that you're in a partnership with. I can't speak on that. But for the single moms out there, the single popses out there, if y'all have questions about things, utilize these 2 guys. Like I said, we're not on that level yet, but y'all already know how I think. We're going to be there soon. Utilize them. Post questions. We can have topics, questions, comments, concerns. I will type them up, and I can post them to these guys.
Yeah,
seriously,
definitely.
So like I said, guys, I enjoyed this one. This was a long day for us. I think we're all doing pretty good, though. Like I said, Lopez always smiling. Patton always surviving.
I'm surviving right now,
get him some apple juice and some baby milk sauce after this. So like I said, remember, guys, the only thing we ask you to do is just tell a friend. Leave your comments. Please leave comments. Like, that's content for us. Comments. You might ask a question and it might lead to something else. Who knows? Like I said, please. We might have a question joint where we just answer all y'all questions. Because we are professionals, and these 2 men are professional men as well. We're on all platforms. What are they? What are we on?
iTunes, Spotify, Podbean.
We're on instagrits.podbean.com. We're on Google Play,
YouTube.
SoundCloud, YouTube. We're going to be all over the place. So, like I said, there's plenty of places for y'all
subscribe,
to do. Support,
follow,
share.
And like I said, everything starts with you. We're all about accountability. Everything starts with you. So, everybody make moves. Then we move markets. Stay blessed. We out, guys. Peace.
All right, y'all. Next time.
One love.
We'll get this one. We say bye to the people on the joint.
Y'all see y'all later.
When go in our comments and start subscribing, I'm gonna make that page, and then start posting questions. Let's go. It's question and answer time. Peace out, guys. Love you.
All right.